Hello everyone, my name is Mimi79. Today I've got round number 2 of the FIA Manufacturer Series. So as you can see there, 302 points on offer for first place. This is split 4, so perhaps the competition isn't as steep as the highest splits, but there is still some very fast drivers in here, and it is going to be difficult to beat them, even though we are in the Jaguar, which, to be fair, is probably the best manufacturer this season. It's still going to be tricky because we will struggle through the death chicane because of the understeer. But one upside of the Jaguars is it's really stable, especially the Group 4 car. It's very hard to get oversteer in this thing. You can basically floor it through most corners and the car will remain straight. It's a very solid car. Great beginner car as well if you're just starting out the game. But as we begin our qualifying lap here, if you are new to the channel, just leave a subscribe. It really does help me out. But anyway, enough of that faff, you know, all that cliche subscribe to the channel stuff. And unfortunately, I think we got a bit too close to the Spaniard, and that is going to ruin my lap. So I'm gonna go into the pits and try again. But what's the most important thing, I think, to consider in this race is that the slipstream is very important, because without the slipstream in qualifying, unless you're very quick, it's going to be very difficult to get anywhere. So beginning our qualifying lap here, there's no cars to be seen anywhere. But as we break into the first corner, we take a bit of a tighter line, and perhaps we don't slow the car down enough. And we just power out a little bit too early. I'm just going to have to dab on the throttle. That isn't the fastest way through, I don't think. But as we go through the right-hander, just a very slight lift. That'll probably cost me half a tenth maybe. But as we go through the first sector, it's going to be a 35.5. And I have gone way quicker. So not the best first sector. But here, huge mistake. Just missed the apex slightly. And then powered out a little bit too early, just having to lift there, and I probably lost 3/10 through there, maybe 4/10 if we count the exit as well. Probably lost about half a second of actual lap time in this one. As we go through the hairpin, nice and steady on the power, no drama there. But as we go into the final sector, very tricky to get right, I think, because of the chicane coming up, the death chicane. Are we going to nail it? I'm just going to have to lift there just so I don't end up smacking into the wall, and then skipping towards the final corner, braking on the 100 board, missing the apex, but we're going to get a good exit. And on the run to the line, what lap time is this going to be? As we cut the inside of the final kink, it's going to be a 146.103, and to be honest, it wasn't a good lap. It definitely felt scruffy in places, and I think I could have maybe got pole position if I just sorted out my middle sector. But as you can see there, setting the brake bias to +3, because the Jaguar really does struggle with front tyre wear, as it is a front engined car. But as we begin the race then, you've got a Mercedes in front, which is quite crucial, because the Mercedes is not the best around here, I don't think. It's definitely slower than your Jaguars and your McLarens and stuff. But starting just a few seconds behind the leader, this is crucial, because we're actually going to keep a decent gap with this guy, Map Light VGA. And as you can see, I'm misjudging the cold tyres, just get a bit of a slide. Quite rare for the Jaguar. But again, you've always got to heat the tyres up, otherwise that could very easily happen. But as we go through the right-hander then, easily flat out, as you can see there, we've already dropped the slipstream of the cars behind. And that will be very important, because that means that it's basically only a 9-way fight for the lead and not 18-way. Because if you've got 18 people within 5 seconds, it's never going to go well. But as you can see there, just in the distance, the Spaniard with a penalty in the Chevrolet, and we're going to go down the inside of James in the Merc, and we're going to move up into 8th place. Now I think throughout this race I think I was slightly quicker than the Mercedes behind, but as we go through the death chicane, as you can see that he just completely passes away. I think bottling it at the death chicane and getting damage is like getting shot in both knees and being left on the side of the road. It's not a pleasant experience, and you certainly want to avoid it. But as we go around the final corner then to begin lap number 2, just running a little bit wide, and here this was something that I actually quite appreciated. Instead of going for the move, I think he just tries to bump draft me so he could close up to the cars in front. And again, I think this will really help if you could just play it smart, and I think that's what he tried to do. Braking a little bit too late for the first corner there, not getting the best exit, maybe lost a 1/10.5 or so. But as we see there, the Spaniard is about to serve his penalty, and going into the second sector, he's just going to serve it there, and that is crucial because we might just about be able to sneak into the slipstream. But as you can see that there's a train of about 3 or 4 cars there, all in formation, all in the slipstream of each other, and you've got Blue Racer there in the McLaren, so kudos to him. I think he did a 45.6, so quite a good lap time, so fair play to him in the McLaren. I think I'll be challenging him all season really, because I think we're about equal pace, and if we can, you know, challenge each other, that'll be quite good, I think, because I think we have a direct competitor now in this series, as you could call it. But as we go through the dash chicane, just a hint of a lift, you don't want to take many risks, and in fact the Spaniard not getting a very good run altogether. I think he just pushed the limits a little too much, and it's very easy to just end up smacking against the wall. And then out the final corner, he's going to run a little bit wide, and that's also going to cost him maybe another 1/10 or so, and we will be gaining in the slipstream. Now the gap is 3.8 to leader, so we've had about equal pace so far in this one, and the cars in front are slowly starting to get back to us, and you've got the ERM driver Borja in the Jaguar as well. Jaguar, a very popular choice this season in the manufacturer series, but I could see why. It was quite strong at Interlagos, and it was also quite strong here at Dragon Trail Seaside, but the Jaguar is quite bad on hard tyres, which is crucial. But as you can see here, skipping to the end of lap number 4, and we've closed up to this train at this point, and we're trying to close up to P3 there, NRC Sonner in the Aston Martin. And I think at this point, if we could just work together and not make any stupid mistakes, then that would very much help our chances of victory in this one, especially as we're only 3.2 away from the leader. You know, I think we have been faster over the course of the race, but as you can see, they're really closing up to NLR Maxime there in the Dodge Viper. This car used to be the best around here, but with the balance performance changes, that is no longer how it is. I think we get a slightly better run there, and I think he just gets caught a tad on the curb, and we're all over his rear spoiler. And as we go through the S's then, which on hard tyres is Spain without the S, but on soft tyres it is pure bliss. It's very nice to drive, and especially in a car that grips very well, like the McLaren or the McCann Trophy, it just flies through the middle sector. But anyway, into the hairpin, and as you can see there, Germany is only about a second and a half in front, and this is very important. But as we come through the final sector, this is very important because I want to see what your guys' opinion is on this, because as you can see there, he was smacking into the wall, but then I'll just tap him ever so slightly, and the ends up in the wall, and he's been shot in both knees now, so he's going to have damage for a good 30 seconds in this one. So he's going to have front end damage as well as engine damage, and that is something you do not want to have at all. But again, let me know what you guys thought of that in the comments below, because I'm sure there'll be varying opinions on this. And as we just skip through then to the end of lap number 6, and the Spanish could go a little bit wide. He's going to scrape against the wall, and we're just going to breeze past. And in fact, that was quite annoying, because I was relying on that guy for slipstream to the cars in front. But we move up into 5th position, and this is something that might come in handy towards the end of the race. But the Spaniard just gets to the power too early, and as you can see on the radar, I did lose quite a lot of time. But now it's up to me to try and close up to the guys in front, because we're only about half a second behind, and if they battle extensively like they are now, they're only going to lose time, and that will be very important for us later on in the race. So there's 5 laps to go after this one, and it was about a 21-minute race, not very long by most standards. It was still a fairly decent race length, but I think I could have done with 2 or 3 more laps just to spice it up a bit, you know. Who doesn't like a bit of spice? You know, it adds flavour to the dish. And as you can see here, taking a slow in fast out approach, and Blue Race actually get it all wrong. I think he took a bit too much power on the entry, and we're almost in the slipstream, just a 10th now also. And as we go into the braking zone, I have to nail this corner so I can get in the slipstream, braking really late and powering out super early, and we are just about in the slipstream, and we're braking away from the cars behind. But as you can see here, through the death chicane, I think maybe because of the slipstream, I just took a bit too much speed into the corner, and I had to step off the throttle, and I think that's going to be it for our chances of a podium, which is a shame, because I think we had decent pace in this one. But again, slipstream is so important, because from this point onwards you're going to be flat out until turn 1. But as we skip forward to the end of lap number 8, you've got the Spaniard all over the back of us, and at this point it's going to be almost impossible to catch up with the cars in front. Blue Racer does go a little bit wide, but I think it's still going to be way too hard to catch up, even with him making mistakes like that. But as you can see there, I'm being assaulted by 2 Spaniards. I think this is the Spanish War of 1588 replicated all over again at Dragon Trail Seaside. Don't know why they decided to attack me here, but you know, I think they've got to try and get revenge for their lost comrades 450 years ago. But anyway, enough of the history blabber. As you can see there, the gap is 2 and a bit seconds now to Blue Racer and Sonna in front. It's going to be almost impossible now to even have a hope of anything higher than 4th. And we have lost a lot of time to the leaders just by battling. As you can see, the gap about 5.3 seconds to Borja in 1st place. But again, it's just about keeping your head in the game, not making stupid mistakes, because if you die at the death chicane, obviously it's going to be game over. There's not much you could really do, because I think in the race before this, I think I messed up qualifying. I hit the wall, and then in the race I did the exact same, and I ended up in the last position. But it's nice to be towards the front for a change, I think, given that in the last video I didn't really do all too well. I will have a playlist of all my FIA videos up on the channel, just so you can find them all in one place. I think it's a good place to recap on everything that's happened so far this season. Obviously it's only been 2 rounds, but as we do more and more races, I think it'll be good to just have them all in one place instead of fidgeting about looking for them in through my uploads. But anyway, the Spaniard managed to get past me there, but I'm trying to get the cutback, but he just parks on the apex, so there's so much I can really do. I'm looking for an opening, but again, it's just not quite going to work, unfortunately. But at this point, as you can see, Blue Racer managed to get up into third place, and as you can see here, it just goes a little bit wide, and I'm side by side at this point. But I would try to let him through, but I think that Corvette just does not have the same acceleration as the Jaguar, which is again a very good car for the season. I don't know what they've done to it. I don't know if they've buffed it with a BOP update or not, but it's definitely much more of a popular choice this season than it was in any of the previous ones. As you can see that it goes to the inside to defend, and in fact James is gonna sneak past into 7th place, and at this point I thought, oh no, my race is over, I'm just gonna get 7th, maybe 220 points at most. But as you can see, in just a couple of moments time, Blue Racer's made a mistake. He's ended up in the wall. Very easy to make if you just, you know, push the limits a little bit too much. But we're gonna go to the inside. This is the send of this decade, I think, and we're gonna try and keep it pinned to the inside as much as possible, but we just get pushed out of the way, and we drop back down into 6th place, or now 5th place. So we gained 2 positions there through some opportunistic passing, and now we're just trying to get past Blue Racer, but it goes to the inside. And I was thinking about the move, but I just didn't think it would quite pay off. He does go a bit deep, and perhaps if I did brake earlier, I could have got the cutback on exit. But a bit of a weird glitch there. I think there was a bit of netcode in that one. Sometimes it happens where you push someone, but then they go way in front. It happened to me at Special Stage Route X, I believe. Very weird goings on there. Maybe the Illuminati are involved, I don't know. But just gonna have to try and keep up with Blue Racer, because I think it is clear that they're much faster at this point in the race, especially with their qualifying time being about half a second quicker, and also the McLaren seems to do much better on hard tyres than the Jaguar does. But as you can see, that the Spaniard goes for a move down the inside, and that was really frustrating, because now Blue Race is just gonna get away, and I'm gonna have to step off the throttle just so that he could go back in front. But as you can see here, Blue Racer doesn't get the best run. I think he misses the apex very slightly, and that is going to allow us to close up once again. I think that McLaren started to struggle with the tyre wear now at this point. But as we go to the final corner, just braking early, don't want to smack into the back of him. But as we go on to the final lap of the race, and this is the point where people are going to be more desperate to make up those places. But as you can see, the Mercedes just not having the grunt of the Jaguar. And as we go to the first corner, just let me know what you think of this, because I brake early, but it seems as though Spaniard brakes a bit earlier than me, and unfortunately I just tap him, and I think he just goes a little bit wide. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And at this point the Frenchman has caught back up, but now we've got to set our sights on getting past Blue Racer for 4th position. But as we go through the end of the first sector, just trying to keep up with him, because the tyres do not feel good. Even though the tyre wear is only times 6, the tyres will still fade at the end, and through the S section, this is where you can really notice the tyres just dropping away, and he's got so much more grip, and there's not much I could really do. But I think my only chance really is to go for an assault into the final corner, or if he bottles it, that's okay, but goes a little bit wide, and just having to step off the throttle because the tyres at this point do not feel good whatsoever. And as we go through the final sector of the race, is he going to bottle to dash chicane? Really trying to attack as much as possible, but the tyres just do not have the grip, and I could have probably carried a bit more speed, but The gap's 3.5 tenths, but if he makes a mistake at the last corner, we will out-drag him on the line. I think he brakes a little bit too late. Maybe if I just got my braking point spot on, I could have maybe looked for a move. But as we go to the line, it just comes up too quickly. And it's going to be 5th place, but I'm really pleased with that result, given our qualifying. And I'll most certainly take that. But if you did enjoy, like and subscribe, turn on those post notifications. But take care everyone, and goodbye.